Kayla Kate here, and we are talking about all things Generation X. So this is if you were born between 1965, 1978, often known as the smallest generation, and often given the quote, we can be it all, do it all, have it all, and at the same time, I am all things to all people. And in this generation is when you really start to see the balance of work-life balance, really, because before with the boomer generation, it was live to work. And now, again, you start to see with this generation, the pendulum swing of the work-life balance. And my older brother, he's a Gen Xer, and he pretty much says it best. And this is a quote he often says is, work hard, play hard. And he's working hard during the week, and he's playing hard on the weekends. And that is very true, tried and true of this generation. And again, every generation has three influences: parents, politics, and pop culture. And so with their parents, the Generation X, they were, of course, parented by boomers. And so they're influenced by a key high work ethic. They were also kind of often known as trainers. And so you see that with that work hard, play hard mentality. Also key though with this generation with their parents was divorce. You started to see more and more numbers of divorce. And so kids growing up in homes that were split or with one parent on the weekend, one parent during the week, that sort of thing, which is a key factor in their kind of upbringing as well. And another key thing with parents was, remember, the boomer generation lived to work. And so you now had two parents at home. And so these kids were often coming home and having to let themselves in, having to prepare the meal, maybe take care of younger kids. And so this latchkey generation, key characteristics with them are they become really resourceful, self-sufficient, independence. They like their freedom. And so you start to see that in the workplace as well. They don't want to be micromanaged, although nobody really does. But that sense of value and responsibility and kind of, hey, I'm going to buy my bootstraps, take care of myself. You start to see that those mentalities played out in their life as well. And then moving on with politics, there were some really, really key things that happened within politics with this generation. There was the Cold War, the 3 Mile Island. Obviously, the Watergate scandal was a really big deal, the energy crisis. You had terrorism at Germany in the Olympics. And then, of course, the Challenger disaster was a really traumatic thing. Followed by Black Monday, the Rodney King beatings, as well as the 24-hour cable news network started to come out. So at first you had these little snippets in the morning and at night maybe of news, but now all of these really big dramatic things are now kind of in your face 24/7 if you want them to be. And so a key, often when I do these trainings with groups is I'll have the Gen Xers share about how do you remember the Watergate scandal? How do you remember the Challenger disaster? Because that's the kind of key with all of these things is how it influenced your mentality, how it influenced your view on authority, on leadership, on government, on NASA. All those things are a really big deal. And so again, depending on your age and when you grew up, it probably affected how you think about certain things. So just some things to think about if you're in that Gen X. And then, of course, followed, again, a really big part of the pendulum shift with this generation followed the last kind of key influencers, pop culture. So here you start to see MTV became a really big deal. Video games, personal computers, the iPhone, the Walkman, all of these things that it started to shift from the we mentality to the me kind of decade mentality where, we can't put too much blame on the millennials because this shift started to happen where you had the personal computers, you had the Walkman started to come out where you really started to put yourself in your own little world. And really quick, a really good post I saw from a Gen Xer, just read. She basically said it like this. She said, I'm Generation X. We're the last generation that played outside in the dark, the first generation to play video games, the last to record songs off the radio. We loved roller skating on Friday and Saturday nights. We took walks with friends without being worried if we were going to be taken. Saturday mornings was cartoons and a bowl of cereal. We were the first generation to learn how to use a computer for the first time. We played Atari, Nintendo. We loved Soul Train, Scooby-Doo, Three's Company, On the Family, Little House on the Prairie. We traveled in cars without seatbelts and airbags, rode in the backs of pickup trucks, and lived without cell phones. We did it all without flat screen, surround sound, iPads, Facebook, or Twitter, and we all had a great time with each other all the time. So I think that sums it up pretty well. Live hard, work hard. This is all things Generation X. And so if you have any further comments, obviously I'm just scratching the surface, but it kind of gives you a window into their world growing up. And so next up is millennials. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of fun things we'll hit there, but stay tuned until then.